This is a Hoover automatic level control cassette tape recorder with AM radio. Classic piece from the era. Electrically it works, but the volume out of the speaker is really low and the reception quality on the AM radio is terrible. But nonetheless, that doesn't matter. I'll just want to get it back into a working condition, and that will be the end of it. And little dial for adjusting the tuning of the radio. It wouldn't play, so that's why I pulled it apart. I'll give it a good clean. To go much further, I need to take out the microphone. In fact, I might unsolder the leads. You can pull the whole chassis out of it, including the speaker, but the microphone of all things is attached to the front cover. Take the microphone off and have it dangling. I'll unsolder it. I think it'll be easier. It's only straight onto the circuit board here. It's your shielded single core shield. The red is the inner core. I assume that's what the speech is on. And a green just wrapped around it all. I assume that's a grounding wire just for the hell of it. Okay, let's take that off. But I will write down first where it goes. The drawer opening, the spring, it's okay this side, but on this side it's the opening lid is slightly broken, and the spring is popped loose, so I've got to try and figure a way of attaching that screw to the lid plastic. It wanted to rewind and fast forward, but not play. Right, let's fast forward. To stop it, you just release the piano key. Rewind. Hard to see. Just release the piano key to stop it. Fast forward. Release key. And play. Actually, it's a bit hard to see the difference in all of that, but it's pretty obvious. This belt is just loose as buggery. It's amazing it even works in rewind and fast forward. But the real issue is play. In play, there's no take-up of the take-up reel. The capstan is actually working, which is great, and the pinch roller, that's seems to be okay, but the take-up hub is not taking up. It's just sitting there loose, and I've got to try and figure out what it is that's not applying movement. So the little plastic center hub goes over to this rubber wheel for rewind and this rubber wheel for fast forward. That's rewind, release, fast forward. So that's why that's okay, but in play it's not going over all the way. Not sure if it's meant to. Doesn't grab the take-up reel. There's a lot of broken up foam underneath, and it could be that was meant to provide friction with the center drive down there. You might see it move round. Yes, I think that's what it is. The friction for the drive hub is this foam here, which is all broken up. Not sure how I'm going to replace that. That's rather specific. I've never seen anything like that before. I'll have to take this off and see what I can do. Alright, I'll give it all a good clean and come back. I was just going over this, and there's a little bit of specification on the back, and it's quite interesting. Power source, DC 6 volts, positive earth. AC 117 volts. AC or 220 volts. This is 220. Volt range minus 25 to plus 9%. Earth in earphone impedance 8 ohms. Output power maximum less than 980. It can't see it, but probably milliwatts. So not quite a watt. Total harmonic distortion, hard to read. Microphone impedance 600 ohms. Mic level minus 65 dB plus or minus rad B or 0.775. Yeah, okay. But the interesting thing is minus 6 volt supply. So that dates this at the mid-60s, because well, cassettes didn't come out until 63, and in the 60s, especially in the early years, a lot of transistor radios and so on were actually negative supply. The reason being is that they were using germanium transistors, and most of those were PNP. NPN transistors were quite expensive compared to PNP, and therefore they tended to use them in the opposite way to what we mostly use now. It wasn't until silicon transistors came that they started to become a bit more common to have both NPN and PNP. Yeah, so there you go. And sure enough, I looked inside, and yeah, there's the big round can for one of them. Probably, I forget the numbers, OC something. I noticed that the rod, ferrite rod, was a little bit loose. The plastic supports for it have come loose, so what I decided to do was just use a bit of hot glue and just set it in place. Right, next thing is to take off the take-up hub, and just having a quick look at it, I think what we do is we take off the top. It can't be got at from underneath, so I think we take off the little plastic cap on the top. Yep. And it comes straight out. That's all that's holding it in, is a little tiny plastic cap that's on the top. Should be able to see here that what caused the friction was a foam or felt, probably, it's hard to tell, probably foam tire that goes around, and you just see it crumbling apart now. Doesn't seem like a good idea to use a foam item like this as providing a bit of tension for a take-up reel. It just wears away. Oh well, that's how it is. I'll continue giving it a good clean, and I'll get back to you shortly. I thought while I'm at it I'd see how the radio works. So I've got the radio switch on, which is right here, off and on. Turn up the volume.
Eventually, the heavy question. Quarter time AFL, Port Adelaide 2-1. Really need now.
Pretty terrible, but anyway, that's flat out. But it's working. All right, get back to cleaning it. A few screws to tighten up. Just realised I can get in and oil that flywheel. I might just do that, at least have a look at it. Means taking these two off. Fairly accessible, that's one good thing to get to the belt. Easy as that. That's a capstan and the belt. You can see by the shape of it how it's been stopped for so long in that position. Power on. Fast forward, still sort of works okay. Play. So there's the diameter of the tyre. The diameter of the foam tyre that's in that groove needs to be out here somewhere, I think. Oh dear, never mind. How sad. I might have to look up in the internet and see if there is actually anything. Who knows? Well, I've reached a bit of an impasse. I've been on the internet and been trying to find anything I could use as a foam tyre for this take-up spool. I can't find anything that would do. The only thing I could think of is to get a strip of foam with a sticky layer on one side for like door sealing or something, and place it around and try and make it stick all the way around in a good fashion. That may work, but anyway, I thought before I do that I'll just try and see if the thing actually works. And I've thought of a method. I take that off, I strip out a big pen, and the idea is that I'll be the take-up. So I stick it in, press play. Well, oh, it works. I tried that just before and it wasn't working. Huh, weird. That's maximum volume. That's Merle Haggard, if you couldn't tell. Has quite a bit of wow on it, but it's just too low. I think it's not worthwhile persevering anymore. It is working, sort of, apart from this take-up spool. So I think that's that. It'll be just a mantelpiece display item these days. I'll give it a nice clean as much as I can, and that'll be that, I think. Oh well. Whoa. So stick that back on. Put on the cap. Oh, most importantly, I've put my Bic Biro back together. Oops, that way. Here we go. Most essential piece for cassettes is the Bic pen. All right, I'll put it back together now. Well, as I said, I was having trouble actually thinking about how I could get some foam to fit in this groove, but I actually found some. So what I'm going to try and do is to see if it will work. So I'm just using the groove on it to make it the right width, then cutting it. Not sure if this will be the right diameter actually. It's about the same width as the rubber tyre, but I suspect it's meant to be a little bit bigger. So I may have to pat it out underneath with some double-sided tape. Alright, I have to wait for this to dry. I'm back again, and last time I was trying to get the right diameter for this take-up spool. When you press play, the idea is that little inner one there, which rotates, just slightly grips onto the take-up wheel and allows a certain amount of slippage, which there was a foam tyre that was there before, or what I could tell, what was left of it. Stupid idea, but anyway, what I'm trying to do is create a little foam tyre around it, but unfortunately it's not quite large enough diameter. So unfortunately I'm going to have to try again to make it a bit bigger. It's at the moment it's the same diameter as the actual tyre that's used for fast forward. If you can see here, that's play, and you can see that's still spinning. If we go fast forward, it's gripping onto the rubber tyre. Not all that well, but it is gripping. So that's the problem. I will this time I'm going to try. I'll take this off and I'll put a a couple of strips of gaffer tape around it and then put the foam tire on it, and hopefully I'll get the right diameter eventually. The other issue with this beast is that the door opening has a couple of springs, which, well and good. The other springs in the case, but unfortunately this particular one here, the hole where the spring attaches to is broken off, so I have to devise a way of making that a hole that the spring hook can hook onto, and once I do that it will be okay. So they're the two major things to do. I'll get back to you. This play button seems to always bounce back after being pressed. I think it... Ah, I see. Ah, okay. Needs to be glued in, the groove here. It keeps... you can see there was glue there, so... Oh, that's good. I'll do that. Right, now I need a cassette and some power. Right, Mr. Merle Haggard again. No, still not. Oh, sort of works. It has hiccups. Sort of working. The volume is very low. Well, I'm not going to worry about that. And lots of wow. Yeah, that could be as a reflex to hitting something. It's hitting a little bump, and I think that's the join I made, and it's a bit too hard. That can't be helped. No easy way around that. Try again. Yeah, it's the join where I've glued the two halves together, or where I've joined the circle together. It's getting worse now that it's relaxing. I might actually cut a little bit of it away. Not much. If I take away too much, it won't grip it. It's not a huge dent, so it just shows you how fussy it is. The little hole I put in has actually made it worse. I was afraid of that. Right. Remove power before I do anything else. Right, I'm going to finish this off now. It's unfortunately the foam surround for this take-up reel, I couldn't get it to be the right thickness or the right softness, the right diameter. It sort of worked, but the join, I couldn't get a nice soft join. It was it kept catching there. I tried to chew away at it and sort of try and make it a bit more even, but it was just becoming a disaster. So I'll just put it back together, and you can't play with it. You can rewind and maybe fast forward if it doesn't catch on that foam. So it's just a mantelpiece item now, but definitely can rewind and listen to the radio for what it's worth. But time to move on, other fish to fry, so I'll put it back together. That goes on. There's a little tiny cap, goes on top of the hub. There we go. So that stops it. The other thing I've managed to do is, at least I got the lid, I think, hopefully will work okay. I glued the spring onto where it joins, and it won't go away in a hurry. So works like the other one.